West Indies finally get some points, beating Bangladesh.
Yo, some of feel them can pull this off though. Feel them are gonna make it off.
Welcome, Sports Nation, to Sports DTM, the sports channel where we call sports down the middle. You can expect the latest in sports news, views, and reviews from our resident analysts. No sports topic is too controversial, and no team or player is above criticism. So just smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on our balanced offering of riveting sports content. And don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Welcome to Sports DTM.
Greetings, Sports DTM fans, and welcome to another episode of Sports Down the Middle, your channel of undiluted sports content. Your favorite analysts are here, yeah, but the West Indies finally won a game, getting their campaign off in the group stage of the Super 12 T20, and they beat Bangladesh, and they're now on 2 points. But their route to the semifinals is not yet secure, and they need to win all their games as well as depend on other teams. If they win and lose some games to make it. But I'm going to share with you some of the current table and the possibilities of making it through to the semifinals for the West Indies. As we can see here, all the teams have played 3 matches so far. England leading with 6 points, South Africa 4, Australia 4, Sri Lanka 2, West Indies 2, and Bangladesh 0. The next matchup will be England versus Sri Lanka and South Africa versus Bangladesh. Get this, the West Indies need England to beat Sri Lanka and Bangladesh to beat South Africa in the next game for Group 1. If that happens, the table will look like this. England on 8 points, South Africa remain on 4, Australia remain on 4, Sri Lanka 2, Bangladesh 2, West Indies 2. The next matchup before the West Indies play will then be Bangladesh versus Australia. And fans, we want you to cheer for Bangladesh because the West Indies need Bangladesh to beat Australia, and then they hold up their end of the bargain by beating Sri Lanka. If that happens, then England will remain 8, South Africa 4, Bangladesh 4, Australia 4, West Indies 4, and Sri Lanka 2. The final set of games in this group stage then will be England versus South Africa and West Indies versus Australia. And we want, again, England to beat South Africa and win the group, and West Indies to beat Australia. And if that happens, the group will finish looking like this. England winning with 10 points, West Indies second with 6, South Africa 4, Bangladesh 4, Australia 4, and Sri Lanka 2. But Raymond,
Yeah.
in looking at these scenarios, one of the big ticket item is that the West Indies will depend on Bangladesh to beat South Africa and Australia.
So those are fairy tale results, I must say. Realistically, you probably need to do some other calculation and realistically put pretty much a loss to Bangladesh on both occasions. I almost seen all those teams pushing to 6 points, and it might come down to the net run rate. I hope it doesn't, but if it comes down to net run rate, it will be really tricky. But somehow, the explosion is still on the card for the West Indies.
And you're talking about a Bangladesh team that has never beaten South Africa, right? They've played 6 matches between them, and Bangladesh now with none. So Bangladesh is pretty much South Africa beating stick. And now this is the situation. So fans,
Yeah.
we need a little bit support Bangladesh.
It it hard for them. I mean, they have never beat them, and they expect them to beat them now because well, West Indies need it. Come
Yeah.
on, come on,
Yeah,
come on,
but
come on.
and then
West
the
Indies need
next
to help themselves with the net run rate.
yeah,
That's possible.
and the next matchup is Bangladesh versus Australia. Uh, They, they have won against Australia though, you know. They've played 9 games, Australia winning five, Bangladesh four. So the ratio is not so far off, or the possibility of Bangladesh beating Australia is not so far fetched at the moment. But it as you say, it will boil down to net run rate. Right. So West Indies will definitely need to beat Sri Lanka by at least. So if Bangladesh fail to beat South Africa and Australia, then the table will have West Indies six, assuming West Indies beat Sri Lanka and Australia, Australia six, South Africa six, and West Indies six. But the West Indies now will need to beat Sri Lanka badly. And badly mean if West Indies bat first, them need to bowl out Sri Lanka for 60 runs less than whatever them score. And if Sri Lanka bat first, West Indies need to beat off the runs they within 15 overs because their run rate, their net run rate now is a negative 1.598, a very terrible run rate. Something where you need to improve because it might come down to net run rate.
Yeah, it will come down to net run rate, and that's another saddest thing. The fact that it will come down to that, you we're hoping that the big batters will actually show up and put on some serious scores so as to improve that. As you highlighted, if we bat first, what is expected, and if we chase, what is expected. Either way, putting on a big score would help. And if the bowlers themselves, in the other scenario, out these people, for little or less, then you pretty much can do this. And you're hoping to do that against Sri Lanka. And you remember we beat Australia just recently. We just need to replicate that in a one-half match to go to the semifinals.
And you think them have what it takes to do it?
Yeah. The winning, they say so. So I think the winning is there for them. Winning is there for the taking. It just really come down to the run rate, and they might can pull it off. They might, and I'm hoping that it happens because without which, is already ticket home.
So the next matchup, England versus Sri Lanka, will pretty much determines what happens going forward. Every other match is a knockout match. Literally, you lose, you're out. So you definitely have to win to stay alive.
Yeah, and Sri Lanka can beat England, and we're still not totally outside. We still have a slight chance. That's how funny it is, We're not, it really comes down to when we play and we lose or win. It really comes down to that time. And once we win, then the hopes are on the pot cover, everything, and the prayer go up and beer excitement. Once we win. But if we
So,
lose, then it is what
so
it is.
if Sri Lanka is to beat England, that is a total tailspin in this group because
It is.
England will remain on six and then Sri Lanka will move to four. And then
Which
you might have four teams finishing the round with
But,
six
but,
points.
but when England plays South Africa now, them have explode because them can't leave up nothing to chance.
The only thing is that England South Africa match are the last match of the group. So
And
West Indies playing Australia before England.
so I could beat them and pretty much sit down. Well, it's gonna be fun, I swear.
I
By
pray say
Wednesday,
rainfall.
it's gonna be fun. You will need to probably check the weather report, but this is gonna be exciting.
And as always, once the West Indies is involved, there's drama, there's heartache, there's
Squid Games
pain.
have nothing. Squid Games have nothing upon West Indies. Believe me, nothing whatsoever.
So fans out there, we have attempted to put the scenario to you as to how the West Indies team can make it through to the semifinals. They need England to win the remaining two games. They need Bangladesh to beat Australia and South Africa. And they also need to win their remaining two games and win at least one of them convincingly to increase their net run rate. Sounds easy, right? It's the West Indies. They're the defending champion. They win two times. They win more than any other team. They know what it's required of them to win. They know, so the fans are depending on them. And I've seen some of the players saying that it is a rough time now for the West Indies cricket and for their fans, and they're trying their utmost best to get it over the line. Making it to the semifinals is underachievement, and they need to figure out how to get there, right? So, fans out there, if you believe in the West Indies team, just leave those comments in the comment section below. Do you think they can win, pull off all that is required to make the semifinals? Leave those comments in the comment section below, and always remember to like, to share, and to subscribe, and to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell all of them friends to come and join the Sports DTM family. This has been another episode of Sports Down the Middle. Be blessed.